Hi everyone. Today's video I thought I would show you how I colour in using the distressed oxides. So I've chosen this beautiful Sentimentally Yours image, the wildflower bouquet, and I'm going to stamp this out and colour this in a minute. I've decided for the leaves I'm going to use rustic wilderness and forest moss. And for the stems, I'm going to be using shabby shutters, all in the distress oxides. For the main flower, I'm going to be using lumberjack plaid and barn door. And for the other three flowers, I'm going to be using carved pumpkin and spiced marmalade. I'm using watercolour cardstock by Sentimentally Yours. This is hot pressed cardstock and it's absolutely stunning. So the first thing to do is move my inks out the way and bring in my stamping platform. And I'm going to take my stamp, and this is a beautiful size stamp. It actually measures 5¼ inches by 3½ inches. So as I say, it's a really nice size stamp. I'm going to bring in my card and I'm going to place my image. I think we're going to go up to one side to avoid wasting all this beautiful card. I'm going to bring my platform over, lift that up, and I'm using my VersaFine ink to ink up my stamp. Lots of ink on there. And we'll bring that back over. Beautiful. But I'd like that a little bit darker. So we're just gonna ink it up again. Perfect. Absolutely beautiful. I need to clean off my stamp, pop that back where it belongs, and pop my stamping platform. So bringing in our image. VersaFine takes a little while to dry, so I'm going to give this a quick blast off with my heat tool, so it's going to be noisy. There we go. So this is the image. Absolutely stunning image. I use the water pens. The one I use is from Derwent and it's a size 2. And the first thing I want to colour in is the ferns. So I'm going to colour them in forest moss. And I just like to pop a little bit down on my glass mat. You don't need too much. Drop a droplet of water on there, give that a swirl round, and I always knock off a little bit, and then I'll go in and just paint the leaves. And the first layer is just painting without worrying about any shadow effects. Not worrying too much about getting right up to the edge. Now a lot of people like to water their cardstock prior to inking. But when I'm doing intricate little details like this, I just like to have a wet brush. So basically that's the first side done. I'm going to pop this around and do the other side, just making sure that we get some ink down. And the beauty about watercolouring is you don't need to be too precise, and you certainly don't need to be a professional artist. I don't mind going over the edges slightly. I try to avoid it as much as possible, but if it does go over the edge, it doesn't bother me too much. I'm going to pop that back round and just have a look in the centre of these flowers to see where I can see any more ferns. Tiny one there. I think that's done with the first colour. We're just going to wipe this off of my glass. I'm going to clean up my brush. I'm going to take in the forest moss again, just pop a little bit down, and this time without wetting the ink anymore, I'm just going to go in from the bottom of those leaves and pull the ink towards the top, leaving the tips the lighter colour. So this is now going to give us some interest. So that's that first half done. We're going to do exactly the same, just starting at the bottom and bringing it up to just over halfway in a little squiggly motion. So how quick is that to do these leaves? Pop that back around. I think I missed that one there and a tiny bit there. So already you can see the contrast of the two greens, and when the darker one hits the lighter one, the wetness will help them to fuse together. This will look completely different in a couple of minutes time. So with the bigger leaves, I thought I would do the rustic wilderness. And basically, we're just going to do exactly the same again. So we're going to wet. And then from the bottom, just go up your leaves or down your leaves, whichever way you prefer to do it. And we'll just get some ink down on those. I actually love colouring. I find it really therapeutic. So that's the first colour going down. With stamps like this that are so intricate, you really have to look into them to see what is what, really, but we'll get there. Beautiful. This is quite a nice big stamp, and it is really quite easy to colour in. Right, I think that's a leaf there. The fern there. Take your rustic wilderness again, just pop a tiny bit down. Don't put any water in this one. And then we're just going to drag this colour up, and you'll find once this reaches the wet of the lighter colour, it will do its own blending. It will fuse itself together quite nicely. Sorry. And it's not about being perfect, it's just about getting down some colour. So already I can see that these two colours are contrasting each other quite nicely. I miss that leaf there. Pop this around and have a look and see if we've missed any leaves anywhere, but that I'm really pleased with that so far. I think that looks beautiful. Just gonna drag that up a bit there and maybe wet that a little bit more, just so that the inks blend in. There we go. So there's our leaves done already, really complementing each other, looking absolutely beautiful. So I've cleaned up my brush again as much as possible, get rid of the green. Now with the main flower, the centre is going to be Lumberjack Plaid. That's the darkest of the two reds. I'm going to add some water to that one. We're going to knock off, and we're just going to go in, not really worrying too much, and do the centre of the flower. Same with barn door. Don't want too much water on that. So same with the barn door. We're going to come in from the edge and drag that ink into the centre. And when those two meet, they will fuse together. And you really start to get this lovely water effect. More dark, and I'm going to go back in the centre, and I'm also going to go over some of these longer dark stamped lines to give the petals a slightly pleated look. Okay, so that's the never mind, I'll be fussy cutting this, so you won't see that. With these three flowers, we're going to be using carved pumpkin and spiced marmalade. And the darker of these two is the carved pumpkin. So we're going to pop our ink. We're going to add water to that. And we're just going to come in from the outside in and drag some ink into the centres. Same with the smaller buds, just dragging it in. So that's quite quick to do. There we go. So that was the carved pumpkin, and then the next one are going to be used spice marmalade. Now actually looking at this, the spice marmalade looks like it's the darker colour, but never mind. It is what it is. Drag this all over, leaving some tiny patches where the centre of the flower is. I am gonna see if I can go back over with the lighter colour, the carved pumpkin. And wait for that to do its thing, and that flower is gonna look stunning. So it's almost like we've got sort of 3 different shades going on there. Beautiful. So we'll do exactly the same again on the other flowers. So it's not about covering the whole flower this time, it's about just doing the tips and dragging it down a little. Now I know it's usually darker at the centre and lighter at the top, but we mixed our colours up the first time, so not a problem. And then I'm just gonna again go in and drag all this down with a carved pumpkin. And this base, we're just gonna have solid spice marmalade. I'm actually really liking the look of those flowers. So the last one from the top, just bring it down to there we go, and again, very last one, carved pumpkin, and just come all the way over together. You'll notice with the spice marmalade, this one I didn't water this one down. I wanted that one to be more prominent. So there we go. There's our beautiful flowers. With the stems of these flowers, using the shabby shutters, we're just going to come down from the top. There we go. I might even pop a tiny bit there. I think I missed. So at the moment, as you can see, they actually look really, really quite nice. So for the band, I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of barn door down. I'm not going to put any more water on my brush, and I'm just going to bring this in like so. If we go down this time, I'm just going to that. Lovely. So there's our image, all coloured in using Distress Oxides and water. Mod Podge, which would actually bring the colour out fourfold. It would just be amazing. Well, should we have a go at that? I better give that a dry off first. So say, I'm a nightmare. I put my Mod Podge on with my finger because I like to just go in circular motions all the way around. That way you don't get brush strokes, and what I like about doing it this way is it drags some of the damp colour off of the image and gives you a very nice faded background, which actually, if you didn't want to fussy cut all the way around, you just cut around the background. So it's beautiful. If you give that just a second, a minute or two, it really doesn't take that long to dry at all. And I'll be able to show you how the colours really pop. They look absolutely beautiful, and I really love this very faint. I think I would have just cut the image out. So there's the image. Hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, and a thumbs up. Until the next time. Thank you. Bye bye.